final sector we go. Serrano with a defensive, tighter line. You see De Bruyne there using the throttle on, off, trying to find the right application of it. He eventually has to just sit in the wheel tracks of the Lexus for the time being. But has he got enough opportunity, enough momentum to have a lunge up the inside? No, thinks better of it for the time being. But they haven't got time on their side. They've got to be a bit careful about this because it's going to be counting down before they know it. We're already over the halfway stage.
Yeah, that F40 isn't looking too fun mid-corner. He's stabbing that throttle, just trying desperately to get some rotation out of it, but just not able to do that whilst carrying any sort of tangible speed there. So this little second pack there, it's still formed of a few drivers. Coca Lopez at the back. So here's a replay. This is Sasaki and Miyazono. Was this for position? No, there's another bit of contact between them. Sasaki gets up the inside there of Miyazono, and he makes a move up into P2. We missed that completely watching the battle, so our apologies there. But Sasaki does get by Miyazono then, finally, and now is able to chase Kylian Drummond. But I think already it's maybe a little bit too late.
Yeah, 2 seconds in, what, 3 laps is going to be a very tall order, that's for sure, for Takuma Sasaki. Valerio Gallo, Serrano, Kai De Bruyne. You could throw a blanket over these 3 drivers at the moment. They are absolutely giving no quarter at the moment. You can see De Bruyne darting out of the slipstream. You can see Roach there in the background in the McLaren SLR trying to go through. Here comes Serrano. He's going to go past Valerio Gallo if he's not too careful. Down the back straight we go into the chicane. Gallo once again has track position. Does that upset Serrano's rhythm and allow De Bruyne maybe an opportunity from behind to try and attack? He's in a really unfortunate position here, is Jose Serrano. Such is the close competition that we've got. He's having to look in his mirrors whilst trying to keep an eye on what Gallo's doing in front of him.
Yeah, really strong defending there from Gallo as well, just being very assertive with the positioning of the car, saying, no, I'm going to this is my corner, I'm having the apex. And Serrano, through experience and through skill, I might add, just able to decipher that body language from Gallo in front and go, you know what, okay, I'll back out this time, we'll give it another go the next lap. But these guys are so close right now. At the back of his little pack, we haven't really spoke about it, we've got Callum Roach in the SLR McLaren and Coca Lopez, who are still part of this battle, but just not able to move up in this train at the moment.
So down the back straight we go in towards this tight right-hander. There's no medium speed corners on this circuit. There's not really any dive bomb opportunities in this part of the lap. You can see flicking it through the left-hander very much one at a time, one line corners through there, especially the elevation changes you can see. Everybody running it really nicely and really clean. A lot of respectful racing going on, but no dive bombs being made. I gather though, as we get into the final few laps of this race, that's when we're going to start seeing moves being made.
On board now with Callum Roach in the SLR McLaren. I love this car, love seeing it out here and racing against a smattering of other awesome 90s and plus supercars. Great to see them all out here competing like this. If you're unfamiliar with what this race means, it is setting the position order for the race, the grand final. So if Kylian Drummond finishes first, he will be on pole position, and so on and so forth. So it's important. Any position counts here.
Certainly does. Miyazono then on the back of Takuma Sasaki through the right-hander we go, and he's really trying to challenge his compatriot now as we come down the back straight. Sasaki's pulling out of the slipstream. Look at that behind. It's like watching a darts game, isn't it? They're just throwing it through. On the inside there is Kai De Bruyne on Jose Serrano. A decisive move from the Dutchman as he goes up into 5th place, and now his next target is going to be Valerio Gallo. A little bit sideways mid-corner there for De Bruyne. Keep an eye out for that because he's had a few mid-corner moments. Gallo has a bit of a wiggle on the exit there as well, but he's just parking that car exactly where he needs to. Was there a bit of contact there into the left-hander? I think there was.
Yeah, sideways there. Kind of did a good job to gather that back up again, but I get the sneaking suspicion that there's going to be quite a big accident quite soon if these guys keep going at this rate. Kai there really struggling. I think there might have been contact again from behind Jose Serrano. It might have been oversteer into the corner. It's hard to tell from that cockpit angle, but Kai now, I think, really struggling to keep that F40 pointing the right way. Down the background, Coca Lopez looking for a move on Callum Roach. He gets through in the Porsche. Up into P7 then goes Coca Lopez, and Coca's not really done much this race. This guy is a very decorated GT driver. Oh, Callum Roach up the inside. Big lunge there. NASCAR-style move from Callum Roach, moving Coca Lopez off the apex up into P. Oh, who is that?
In the background, that's the Ford GT going off the track. And that is, Robbie Heck, the American driver in his home race, spinning out of contention and spinning out of a good starting position for the grand final.
What a shame there, but it just shows you how close and how aggressively these guys are racing. We're going on to the penultimate lap now, so it's all to play for. Drumont seemingly going to win it at the front, but beyond that, it's anybody's game. Sasaki and Miyazono still joined at the hip as they go up through the S's once more. Now we know that the F50 that Miyazono in that awesome yellow paint is not quite as quick as Sasaki in a straight line, but using the draft is able to stay with them and then is quicker in the corners. So unsurprisingly there, a penalty there for Jose Serrano for some contact with another car. Sasaki passing Miyazono, I think, there in the background. Yeah,
on the final lap. This is the incident which caused Robbie Heck to go plummeting down the order. So we got in a straight. Oh, he lost it on his own. He just hit the white line on the inside and then spent the next time saving it. Got it back, saved it again, got it back, ended up getting biffed there as well for good measure. Miyazono versus Sasaki, part 3.
Miyazono up into second position, so he's overtaken Sasaki again there, just off camera. He just missed it during the replay. So now Sasaki is back in third position in the Maserati. Great fight between these two. Here is the replay. Yeah, Sasaki just up the hill here, and Miyazono using the slipstream to try and get back through, but I then think just lost it again coming through here. But great images between the two here.
Yeah, brilliant racing then as we come through the final series of corners. Look at this, side by side we go. Down into the right-hander, Sasaki on the inside, Miyazono on the outside. Maserati versus Ferrari, the two Japanese drivers giving absolutely no quarter. And Sasaki is back through ahead of Miyazono with just a couple more corners now remaining. Through the left we go. And surely this one goes to Sasaki unless he makes a mistake. He runs it onto the grass, onto the curb. Is that now a bit of an opportunity ready for Miyazono to try and pounce as we flick it through the left-hander? Kylian Drumont's 5 seconds up the road. He's going to win this one. We come through the final corner. Miyazono's going to try and out-drag Sasaki, but he's not going to have the opportunity. Sasaki's very, very close as Kylian Drumont takes the checkered flag and the victory. We come across the timing line then to begin the final lap. Actually, I beg your pardon, as we head down to the first corner. So, Sasaki it is, with Miyazono very close behind.
Yeah, Drumont so far in the lead that Tom called the end of the race. That's how it's going, but we are still going. And in that Gallo gets back through past Serrano. So Gallo up into P4, but now Sasaki and Miyazono, this is their last opportunity, and they've been scrapping the whole race. They know each other's moveset by now, but Miyazono looking to the outside is going to be very brave to go around the outside. Here he does, gets it done with the slipstream, which puts Sasaki now back into third place. Coque Lopez now, by the way. Oh, it's all going on down here.
Look at this. Guy Barbara, Valerio Gallo, Kai de Bruyne, Coque Lopez is up into fourth place now as well. Guy Barbara, Kai de Bruyne, and then you've got Valerio Gallo, Adriano Carrazza all in the mix here as well. It's kicked off massively on this final lap, and somehow Lopez is up into fourth place. You've got lunges being made left, right and centre as we come through this left-hander into the final sector.
Yeah, Lopez lost the car there down the bottom there, so now Kai de Bruyne back in there. Miyazono is now still defending here from Sasaki. These guys are still nose to tail. It's all going on everywhere on the circuit, with Drumont seemingly going to take this victory. They're side by side coming down the bottom here. Miyazono up the inside. Sasaki's going to try the long way around. Can he make it stick? No, not quite. Miyazono ahead with only 3 corners left.
This is super close between these two. Gallo and Lopez are under investigation for a collision as well. Miyazono parks the car on the apex, blocks any opportunity there for Sasaki to try and go through. We come in towards the final series of corners. Once again, this time around it will be the checkered flag as Miyazono once again takes a defensive line and Sasaki tries to attack. Drumont will take the victory and pole position for the grand final. The Frenchman does it in commanding style at Watkins Glen. It's a drag to the line for second, and Takuma Miyazono does take second place ahead of Sasaki, but it's not over further back. Lopez then will take fourth ahead of De Bruyne, Rhodes, Gallo, Barbara, Carrazza and Serrano down in 10th place on the final lap. Wow, what a dramatic end to the sprint race there, JB.
That was a certified Watkins Glen moment right there. That was such good close racing with Drumont there taking the victory, commanding on a circuit where slipstream was everything. He just ignored that and drove away from the pack. Special mention, by the way, of course, there to Coque Lopez, who sort of just bided his time and managed to come back and forth. And a big cheer here for Kylian Dumont from the Canadian audience here, of course. I think lack of a Canadian, I think he's the next best thing, isn't he?
Well, they've gone for the next best thing, said the French speaker, Kylian Dumont. Great job from him. As you said, he was so far ahead, I called his victory a lap too early. So apologies there to Kylian Dumont. Apologies to those who were watching that caught that one. But nonetheless, a superb performance from Dumont. Amazing battle for second between Miyazono and Sasaki as well, right up to the checkered flag. And that final lap, how on earth did it all kick off? We sort of kind of caught the end of where it began. Let's have a look here at the opening lap. This was an amazing start to the race there for Kylian Dumont, splitting the two Japanese drivers for the lead.
Yeah, that Corvette was just in another dimension, wasn't it? Just being able to drive away from these guys. But here was Robbie Heck having probably the saddest moment of his evening so far. Car just getting away from him, that mid-engine Ford GT. He did well to save it once, but wasn't able to save it again. And Dumont, of course, coming up across the line to win in a commanding fashion. 8 seconds clear of the field in a circuit which is known for its slipstream. Amazing driving from the French driver. Yep,
he was a different postcode compared to everybody else, wasn't he, Kylian Dumont? Fantastic job ahead of Miyazono and Takuma Sasaki. Then you've got Lopez ahead of De Bruyne, Roach up there into 6th place as well, ahead of Gallo, Barbara, Carrazza, and Jose Serrano. He was up in the echelons for the podium at one point, down in 10th place at the checkered flag, ahead of Inestrosa and Robbie Heck. He'll be sick as a parrot after that one. A moment, sort of unforced error, and it cost him very dear.
It just shows you how tight it is here. You know, it was a spin. It's one error, and that's all it was for him. To the difference between finishing sort of in the mid pack and just finishing off the back there. So a real shame for him. But if that is a statement of intent from Kylian Dumont, then the rest of his guys are in trouble because he was just untouchable in that race.
Yeah, amazing job from Kylian Dumont. You can see Miyazono there just a few tenths of a second in front of Takuma Sasaki. That battle going right down to the checkered flag. Then you've got Lopez in front of De Bruyne. Look how close it is there. You've got, what, 13.3 seconds behind. Then it's about, what, 7 tenths of a second separating 4th to 8th place when it came to the timing line.
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, I can't believe we've had such a close race already. That's not even the final, by the way. That's just the warm-up. So, yeah, I hope you're comfy where you are there. But amazing racing and definitely an indicator of what's to come.
Yeah, a little bit of an amuse-bouche before the main course coming up later on. Anyway, looking forward to... I know, that was a bit cheesy, wasn't it? Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. Let's remind you of the format for the season in the 2024 Gran Turismo World Series. The Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Cup taking place. 12 drivers in each of them. You can see there 12 teams for the Manufacturers Cup. 3 different drivers in the Manufacturers Cup at the 3 live events. And then in the World Finals, exactly the same format for that one. In terms of the Manufacturers Cup, we've got 12 drivers in Montreal, then a different 12 drivers in Prague, same for Tokyo. All 3 of those drivers, for their representing manufacturer, come together at the World Finals in the fight to become the world champion. Points are accumulated over the course of those 4 live events as well, which we're very, very much looking forward to taking place. And it's going to be hugely exciting to see how it all works out. Now, in terms of Gran Turismo, as you know, we've got lots of things going on at the moment, and we've also got a bit of a special surprise for you in terms of a new wheel coming to GT as well. Take a look at this.
Introducing the Fanatec Gran Turismo DD Extreme, an all-new steering wheel designed with Polyphony Digital. The most powerful direct drive system ever made for Gran Turismo, stepping up the realism even more than the previous generation DD Pro. We're really excited to bring this wheel to Gran Turismo World Series Round 2 in Prague. Check out the full specs on fanatec.com.
Well, there we are, the new Fanatec DD Extreme coming to the second World Series event in Prague later on this year. The Montreal fans absolutely loving things here for World Series 1 in the meantime, though. We understand, though, Jimmy, that last race, a bit of an investigation going on with the stewards. I think there was a bit more hip and shoulder than we first imagined on that last lap.
I thought that was going to be the case. I didn't want to say anything. You never want things to be decided by the stewards, but that last lap, I mean, it was just chaos going for the chicane with like 14 cars on that same bit of tarmac. So we're just waiting to hear if there's any stewards' decisions that coming, because that will affect, of course, the order for in the last row. So just waiting for that now. Do we have it?
I think we do. Yeah, I've just heard that we've got the results through. Let's have a look and get confirmation of the starting grid. It's exactly as you were. No penalties there being awarded. So it will be Kylian Drummond who lines up on pole position for the grand final taking place here a bit later on, ahead of Takuma Miyazono and Takuma Sasaki. Then you've got Lopez ahead of De Bruyne, and Roach then is ahead of Gallo, Guy Barbara, Carrazza, Serrano, Inestrosa, and Robbie Heck down there with a bit of work to do going into the race. That's not where they start, by the way. They don't start 20 seconds behind. That's just their finishing position from the last race.
You imagine. Starting in Toronto.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, anyway, let's introduce you then to our 12 drivers, shall we? And get this one underway. The Nations Cup Grand Final is on the way next. Please welcome all the way from Australia, it is Guy Barbara. Looking forward to seeing how Guy is going to be getting on. You can see he's not been able to win a World Series event, but he's played a fair few hours of Gran Turismo, and he's confident and excited for this one. Next up from the United States of America, please give it your all for Robbie Heck. We've seen Robbie at quite a few World Series events over the last couple of years, and the American driver will be looking to really put the cat amongst the pigeons here tonight. Likewise, his fellow American driver, Callan Roach, will be lining up on the grid as he makes his way down the stairs here. Again, no wins in the World Series, but doesn't mean it can't be set to take place here tonight. Next up from the Netherlands, it is Kai De Bruyne. Kai, one of the youngest competitors in Gran Turismo, has played a fair few hours of the game though, and he's one of the fastest. We saw him in the Olympic Esports Series last year, putting in some strong performances. Let's see whether he can do the same here tonight. One of our stalwarts in the Gran Turismo World Series over the last few years. Give it up for Chile's Angel Inestrosa. 5 wins in 39 starts, gives him a 12.8% win ratio. He'll be looking to try and bounce his way back up to the top of the order despite starting a bit way down the grid for the grand final. We saw him fighting for the podium a few moments ago from Japan. It is Takuma Sasaki. Two wins in 5 starts, a 40% win ratio, the highest we've seen so far here tonight. Giving you all then for Brazil's Adriano Carrazza as he makes his way down onto the stage here tonight. The young Brazilian's won a couple of times in the GT World Series, and he knows how to handle the pressure. We just saw him taking the victory in the sprint race a few moments ago from France. Please give it up for Kylian Drummond. 4 wins in just 18 starts in our World Series events. Sees him as one of the most tenacious, ferocious and fastest GT competitors. What will he be able to do here tonight?
He's enjoying that walk, isn't he, Tom?
Oh, he is. Can't say I blame him. Why not? From Japan, fighting for the podium a couple of moments ago in the sprint race. Give it up for Takuma Miyazono. Won the Nations Cup back in 2020, won the Manufacturers' Cup in the same year, as well as the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup as well. He's the only driver to win the Triple Crown in 1 year. Can he put his hands on the title in 2024? Next up from Italy, another former Nations Cup champion. He won it back in 2021. You can tell he's from Italy. It's Valerio Gallo. Next up from Spain, again another former Nations Cup champion. We're in esteemed company here tonight. He's won 9 times on 63 starts. It is Coque Lopez. And finally, from Spain, give it your all for the 21-year-old. It is Jose Serrano. Jose Serrano makes his way onto the stage, and now we ask for you to stand, if you're able, for the Canadian national anthem of our host nation here in Montreal. The national anthem of our host nation here in Canada plays out in front of an adoring crowd. They have just been absolutely spectacular this weekend, and I am very much looking forward to seeing what is going to happen here tonight. 12 drivers get ready to go head-to-head in that fight for victory. I mean, given where we saw Kylian Drummond a few moments ago, you'd expect the money to be on him, but, of course, very different circumstances for this final race.
Yeah, definitely, and there are... with Nations Cup, of course, everyone has their own strengths and own weaknesses. We've seen that Kylian is great in his production cars, but how is he going to fare in our car for the final?
Yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to seeing what is going to happen here tonight, and that'll be along the way in a few moments' time. Of course, as we said, Kylian Drummond absolutely dominated that race, giving him that pole position. If he can put in a repeat performance like that, game on. But longer race, different cars, different circumstances, it's going to be a tall order. Let's go down to Julia then. She's catching up with the man who lines up on pole position for the grand final for the Nations Cup, Kylian Drummond.
Kylian, okay. Don't you want to know just how... Well, first of all, yes. That move, right at the start, getting you right into... Could you hear how crazy the crowd was going? That was an amazing move that got you into first.
Well, this was a really good move because the car was really fast on the straight line and the top speed. So, I mean, this is... I see your open the door with Takuma, Sasaki. It was difficult to move.
Yeah.
And I see just something to go and I go it. It was good for me.
I mean, it was very good for you. I mean, how does it feel to be back, you know, for a new season of Gran Turismo World Series?
A little bit excited, like always. And yeah, it's excited to see the new physics, the competition as well, like everywhere, to be here, incoming like everywhere. So it's really cool.
Is it harder now, do you think? Is it more difficult, the competition?
Yeah, like everywhere, the level is just a bit improving, you know? So yeah, it's everywhere it's improved. So you need to improve myself as well, you know? So yeah.
Are you feeling confident now you're going to go into this? How do you feel?
To be honest, I don't even know about the strategy. So...
Just figure it out when you get there, it's
just driving and we'll see.
Just go fast, apparently, is what you do,
Yeah,
right?
this is a race, so we need to go fast.
Go quickly, just go quickly. We all know this. All right, well, look, good luck in it. Let's give him a big round of applause, Kylian Drummond.
Drive fast, don't crash. That's your strategy, isn't it? Always.
All right, slightly different wording from me.
Yeah, not broadcast unless you're getting on first name terms with Ofcom. Anyway, yeah, looking forward to seeing what Kylian Drummond is going to be able to do from pole position. Lots of exciting racing to come here tonight as well. What do you think we're going to be expecting for this grand final race, JB?
Chaos.
Okay.
One word.
I like that.
Just pure chaos. These guys, they know what's at stake. It's literally just a fist fight. Proper sprint race this. No endurance style. It's all about just putting in qualifying laps until the end. And we know there are many drivers out there in that field who are capable of that, but who's going to be on top at the end? Who knows?
Well, the drivers aren't only having to compete with different cars for this grand final, they've also been having to compete with different physics over the course of the weekend here tonight, because there's a new update coming to Gran Turismo 7 later on this month. Have a look at this to find out a bit more. Well, I, for one, cannot wait for that. A brand new update coming to Gran Turismo 7. What are you most excited for with that one?
I mean, that Impreza, love the Impreza, the M3 in there as well. Seen plenty of those in my travels to the Nürburgring. You can't turn your head without seeing one, really. But those new physics as well, I tried them earlier on. Fantastic. Great improvement on what is already a good base. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing how our drivers handle it.
Yeah, and to be fair, in that Impreza, I'd be less Colin McRae and more Colin McCrash. Anyway, let's have a look, shall we, at the circuit the drivers are going to be competing in for the Grand Finals. Red Bull X 2019 is back in action. Racing hard, medium and soft tyres available. They must use each tyre type once, and you can see the grid order is as a result of the sprint race that we had a few moments ago. 35 laps here at Road Atlanta. It's going to be a pretty fast-paced race because we're averaging, what, 58, 59 second laps in quali?
Yeah, I think we should see times under a minute for the fast guys there, and of course it is 35 laps, but that will go by very quickly. The reason being because we're in the Red Bull X 2019. You'll be familiar with it by now if you follow the live events, but if you're not, just look at those figures. 816 PS, about 800 brake horsepower, weighs only 650 kilograms. Top speed doesn't quite reach 200 mile an hour, but you won't really be caring about that because you'll be putting like 50 G through each corner. It's a very quick car, requires some very twitch reactions, and with these curves here at Road Atlanta, it is difficult.
Yeah, we got our boffins together to have a look at tyre strategy and try and dissect what they think is going to happen over the course of this one. You can see if you start on the soft tyres, probably do about 10 laps or so on that. Mediums should be the favoured tyre over the course of this race. I mean, it's a very tyre-heavy consumption sort of circuit because it's so fast, so flowing lots of medium and high-speed corners in there.
Yeah, I mean, T1, for example, is flat in these cars on the soft compounder tyre, which is about 270 kph. Imagine the load there on that front left tyre going through there, and then the S's afterwards. So we'll see how they get on. We've seen some strategy changes from what we expect in the manufacturers series just before now, of course. So maybe similar for Nations Cup, who knows?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, to be fair, rip up the form book and throw it out as far as I'm concerned, because given what we saw a few moments ago, anything can happen. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to be like. Don't forget about the Predict the Winner campaign that we've got going on as well. We threw this to you guys back at home, and you can see that 24% of you are rating Takuma Miyazono. Interestingly, the man who just won a few minutes ago, Kylian Drumont, not on the list.
I was going to say that, yeah. I mean, maybe not a good prediction, but we know that Miyazono he's very fast in this X 2019. So, I mean, to be honest, I probably would have picked him as well. So, if I had remembered to do it, which I did not.
Well, the thing is, if you get it right, again, opportunity for a few more credits in your back pocket, which we're looking forward to as well. It's all ready to go then here for the Nations Cup. Not long left. Just tell me what we should be expecting in the first few moments of this one.
I mean, it's going to be a tricky start because of how the circuit is, but I think hopefully they'll try to keep it in line from there.
Let's get ready to go then, shall we? Nations Cup action about to begin. "35 laps of action to come here tonight for the grand final of the Nations Cup. 12 drivers on the grid, but only one winner for World Series 1 here in Montreal. And here is how the field will be set. It is Kylian Drumont, the Frenchman, who starts on pole position, a fan favourite here tonight. Takuma Miyazono will line up alongside him on that front row of the grid. His compatriot Takuma Sasaki heads row 2. Alongside him is Koke Lopez, the former champion. Next up, you've got Kai de Bruyne, the Dutchman. Can he do well in the X 2019? Well, he'll have Killen Roach hot on his heels. Next up, you've got Valerio Gallo, another former champion, 7th on the grid for him. Guy Barbara, the Australian, lines up in 8th position. On the fringes of the top 10, Adriano Carrazza, 9th place, on a work for him to do, and likewise, Jose Serrano didn't go his way in the sprint race. He lines up right down the back of the field, as well as Angel Estrada in 11th place, with Robbie Heck, the American driver, completing our 12-driver strong field. So 3 tyre compounds available, 35 laps of action. Kylian Drumont on the soft tyres there, JB. He wants to go and get as much of a gap as he can possible early on.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar with the tyre strategies in these World Series events, the soft tyre is a statement of intent. It's saying, I'm going to go fast very quickly at the start of this race. Do not get in my way. And interestingly, only, as you said, Kylian Drummond opting for that, with Miyazono, Sasaki, Lopez and De Bruyne from 2nd to 5th, all opting for that slower medium compounder tyre. Callum Roach, also interesting, in that hard in P6, so we'll see how that pans out for him.
Well, a very fast-paced race is what we're expecting. 35 laps of action in qualifying. They were doing sub 1 minute laps. I wonder what it would look like under rated conditions, and I am wondering who will be claiming 6 points and the checkered flag in those 35 laps time. It's Kylian Drummond, the man who won the sprint race a few moments ago, who starts on pole position, but will he be taking the checkered flag here at Road Atlanta? It's World Series 1 for the Nations Cup. The grand final begins now as Kylian Drummond leads the field down to the first corner, followed by Miyazono. And look at Lopez already dragging alongside Takuma Sasaki and taking 3rd place down into the first corner. So Lopez with a bold statement of intent, moving up a position already as he sets his sights firmly on Takuma Miyazono for 2nd.
Yeah, Sasaki definitely caught napping there as Gallo does the same to Callum Roach behind, goes up into P6, but Lopez already up into P3. That's important to do that early. If you think you have the pace, try and get out front early and try and get those lap times in, make the best of a tyre on. Drummond, Miyazono, Lopez and Sasaki are your order as we go onto the back straight for the first time. Here, I would say, is the first real overtaking opportunity, but Karatsa down in P7 has already made up 2 places from his qualifying position in 9th. He likes to come back, does Karatsa, so we'll see how he does as the race goes on. Coming down the bottom of the lap for the first time, heavy braking downhill here, be careful of that. And then very tricky right-hander, try and be careful the front over the crest, and that is 1 lap done here at Road Atlanta. The pace is frantic already.
Yeah, you can see just how fast they're moving around this circuit. You can see how much it funnels down and goes 1 at a time through that chicane as well. You've got an opportunity to go 2 by 2 down that back straight. Look at this, hard tyre runners, Roach, Barbara, Innistroza, Heck, all into the pits at the end of this first lap. The hard tyre's lava, they want to get off it and onto the softs.
Yeah, so people coming in for that tyre, you're wondering why they're doing only 1 lap on this hard compounder tyre. Well, the regulations say you have to use 1 tyre at least once. It doesn't say each tyre at least once, and it doesn't say how long you have to be on the tyre. So if the hard compounder tyre is a 2nd lap slow, you know what, in the bin.
Penalties coming in for Takuma Miyazono. Valerio Gallo at the start of the 2nd lap. Is that track limits? It must be. Yeah, half a second there for Miyazono. That's going to drop him into the clutches, and if not, allow Koke Lopez to get past him. He's coming into the penalty zone, is Takuma Miyazono. And what about Lopez? He's going to go cascading on through and says thanks very much and goes into 2nd place then. So the Spaniard having a quite brilliant start to this race, and now he's got his sights firmly set on Kylian Drummond.
Yeah, Koke Lopez is comfortably the most experienced man here out of anyone in the field. This guy's he's done 60, was it 63 races he's done at these live events. He knows how to win races. He knows how to win championships. So, yeah, definitely any move to be made, he'll make it. On board Sasaki, what a great camera view. This gives you a real sense of speed of this thing. I drove this thing around here yesterday, and I got to tell you, it is very difficult to keep up with this thing. It's incredibly quick for this S section.
You can see there you can't go 2 by 2. It's 1 at a time through that section of the lap. Then it begins to open out a little bit, but there's not that many heavy braking zones on this circuit. You go down into 4th gear for this right-hander. It's the chicane really where the best overtaking opportunity is on this track, and you can see now it's the age-old story. Miyazono versus Sasaki. They were knocking 7 bells out of each other in the sprint race here earlier on tonight, and now they're close to one another, nose to tail on track. But Miyazono darts out of the slipstream here of Koke Lopez as we come down the back straight. Miyazono's got the inside line. He's got track position, but does he have the overspeed on Lopez to get 2nd place back? He does. So Miyazono firmly asserting his dominance over the Spaniards.
Your draft is so strong in these cars. You might notice, look out front, look who's managed to break that draft already on that soft tyre. Kylian Drummond. So watch out for Kylian. He needs to put in some very quick laps now, but we'll check in with him later. Meanwhile, on board still with Takuma Sasaki. This time it's Koke Lopez he's looking at the back of, and not his countryman Takuma Miyazono. We go back down the hill here. What an awesome circuit, Road Atlanta. It's one of the best circuits in the US, in my opinion, and probably in the world, actually, if we're going to talk about that. But such a challenge for these guys and these drivers. Now look at the back of Sasaki. Look who's managed to catch him back up. It's Kai de Bruyne. Out of nowhere comes the Dutch driver. Looks up the inside here. Inside onto the straight, and Kai de Bruyne up into 4th place there. Just biding his time, made the pass. But now he's going to be giving that draft to Sasaki behind him.
Yeah, lunging onto the scene and lunging to the inside of Takuma Sasaki was Kai de Bruyne then, and Sasaki's trying to repay the favour as we come down this back straight. Bit of a tap of the lights there for de Bruyne as we head down into there, but you can see him feathering the throttle here to Takuma Sasaki. He doesn't want to go past. He wants to use the slipstream to his advantage. I wonder, because we're expecting this to be a bit of a fuel consumption race as well, if he's just trying to save a little bit of fuel in these early stages as well.
Yeah, Stewart seeming thinking something to investigate there between the two drivers. I don't think so. It's just hard racing from there. But going back up the hill here, and already the gap between De Bruyne and Lopez. You see this going on. Here's a replay actually of a bit further down the hill. This is Serrano and Carrazza. So Serrano gets past Carrazza, just getting a little moment off that curb though. I saw him in qualifying make that same mistake. It's very tricky to put down 800 horsepower with no traction control at that corner.
Yeah, especially with the aerodynamics are not working at their optimum, because of course you're not going that quick coming out of that particular turn on the track. Very aero dependent and very aero efficient cars, these machines. You can see Lopez there now down in third place, 0.7 of a second. He's sort of dropping off the back of Miyazono at this point. Sasaki's down into 5th position then at this point. De Bruyne's up into 4th place. So down this back straight we go, and Sasaki with now more work to do than he was anticipating at this stage, especially given where the Japanese driver started. But De Bruyne is on an absolute flyer here. He's right onto the back of Koke Lopez. They're both on the same combat of tyre. It's not like De Bruyne's got an advantage with tyre combat. He's got a phenomenal amount of pace. He's got the inside line. Can he lunge into T1? That was audacious from Kai De Bruyne as he goes up into 3rd place.
Those sort of moves are just 100% commitment. Kai had already decided before it even got past Lopez that I'm going for this move. And if he turns in, he turns in. But Kai needs to do that. He's got pace right now. He cannot afford to have that pace hindered by the cars in front of him. Now, Koke Lopez, very quick driver, but I wouldn't say in these cars he's the quickest in the field.
Just to give you an idea of the difference in terms of pace between De Bruyne and Lopez. Lopez last time around a 1 minute flat, 7.94. Kai De Bruyne, a 1 minute flat, 1.62. 0.6 of a second faster. In these cars around this lap, that's a fortnight's worth of pace.
And that is the fastest lap of the race, even faster than Drummond on the soft compound tyre.
Well, it's not over yet, is it? This one with Kai De Bruyne. Kai De Bruyne and Sasaki under investigation. So I wonder whether that's what caused Sasaki to go down the order. Let's have a look and see what happens later on as this continues on.
That was no further action, Tom.
Right, sorry, beg your pardon.
So no further action there, so the steward's sinking it, that's fine. And we go back to this amazing battle. 290 kilometres an hour for the apex of T1 there. I cannot imagine the size of these virtual drivers and their necks are through there, been massive. But what happened there? Sasaki just through, I think Lopez got on the curb a little bit there?
Yeah, quite possibly, unless they said no further action, unless there was a bit of contact that we didn't see and Lopez has just been the gentlemanly thing of letting off. I don't think that would be the case, but again, we didn't see exactly what happened. Anyway, it now sits with Sasaki in 4th place, Lopez in 5th position, De Bruyne up the road in 3rd place.
Interestingly, Tom, sorry, I'm just looking at the timings. Miyazono was quicker than Drummond on that. And there's no slipstream, that is just pace. So maybe those soft tyres are starting to go the other way. Maybe the medium tyres are tired to be on around here.
Well, we're expecting the tyre distance to be about 7 laps or so, weren't we? We're expecting the mediums to be the favoured bit of rubber underneath these drivers. And Valerio Gallo there sitting in 6th place at the moment, not having too bad of a run. Got a good view of the battles unfolding in front of him, but he's not quite in contention for the podium places at this stage at the moment. This is what we are used to seeing in these longer formats of races. It starts off quite frantic, it gets a little bit quiet in the middle stages of the race, and then it really picks up towards the end as all the strategies begin to unfold in front of us.
Man, we're using all that curve there and a bit more, and some of the grass on the entry and the way in there. You know what? If it works, it works. And if the stewards don't say something track limits, then it's all free real estate. So, following Valerio Gallo as he closes onto the back of Koke Lopez. Lopez there had a great start there, managed to get up to 3rd place initially, but since then maybe lost a little bit of the pace and is starting to fall back down the field again. Drummond managing to lap a bit quicker that time around than Miyazono, but they're just trading lap times. So it's interesting to see that soft tyre not quite performing at this stage of the stint.
No, just see Kylian Drummond there, 2.3 seconds the advantage he has on that soft combat of tyres. Is he going to be coming in within a lap or so? Goes round this time, carrying on with those tyres, 1 minute flat 7.03. He was half a second slower than Miyazono last time around.
So maybe it's...
Let's have a listen here to Lopez.
Recently in my hometown, there's a little kid who is 8 years old and he's been Spanish champion. So my motivation in the future is to try to help him and other riders. And this is something that was supposed to be for a longer future, but because this kid is already fighting for big things, I would like to help him as well.
Well, fascinating to hear there from Coque Lopez. Really good to get a bit of backstory about the driver, the former Nations Cup champion, as he sits in 5th position. Right behind him, though, is another former champion, Valerio Gallo. Look at the tyres on the rear of Kylian Drumont, down to 23%. They're going to be feeling pretty second-hand at this stage, and they're going to be going down at a vast rate of knots. He carries on in the lead of the race for another run round. Does the Frenchman at the moment.
He's got a box. He's got a box soon. He's doing 108 right now. So sorry, 1 minute 8.8. That right? But that's still 6/10 slower a lap. I mean, look at the gap in the front. 1.6 seconds now between Miyazono and Drumont. I think if he stays out on this soft tyre any longer, he's going to risk ruining his strategy here, because Miyazono is able to keep that pace on a tyre that is worse than Drumont. There you go. You see the gap there coming down a second in 2 laps. Drumont needs to respond to this.
So Drumont then through that right-hander. This is where he's going to be really feeling the pain of the poor traction of those very worn soft tyres on the exit of that corner. Kylian Drumont just going to not be feeling good at all. Look at that rear left, down to 12%. The rear right is absolutely fine. Illustroza going into the pit lane then, so he's gone from the medium tyres. Where's he going to emerge and on what tyre as well? I know he's a bit of a way down the order and out of sequence, but I'm just keen to see what his strategy is. He goes for the soft tyre then in the middle stint. Drumont has to come in, otherwise he's going to end up sending it into the barrier, I am sure. Miyazono carries on the medium compounds. Now, where will Drumont go in the middle stint?
I don't know if you saw that. He had a really bad pit entry there. He I think, got out of shape going into the pit lane. So those rear tyres there just burn. He goes on to another set of the soft tyres. So that's at least a free stop then. It's going to be from Kylian Drumont. And I think that's going to be the fastest way around here, Tom.
Yep. I think that you're absolutely right. Go for the hard tyre as late as you possibly can. Try and get those, like we saw with Igor Fraga, actually, in the Manufacturers' Cup earlier on tonight. Just try and do a 1-lap dash on those and have as little time on it as you possibly can. See De Bruyne and Sasaki all over each other like a cheap Seuss at the moment as they try to find their way past one another and navigate around this fantastic Road Atlanta circuit over the crest of the hill. Sasaki there looking for an inside line. He's in the slipstream there, pulls out of it from Kai De Bruyne, so doesn't want to get himself ahead of the Dutchman at the moment, but just wants to stay in his wheel tracks. Through that left and then the right-hander we go, up over the crest of the hill. These medium tyres still holding on pretty nicely as it stands. The lap time's a little bit slower than we saw earlier on, but nonetheless, still pretty good.
They're still lapping quicker than Drumont was when he boxed. So Miyazono, though, the pace very, very strong at the front of the field for Takuma Miyazono. Comfortably the quickest man in the first 5 cars. Serrano, actually, the quickest man on track on that last lap, down in 6th place, but not quite making his way to the front of the field just yet. So we're with Valerio Gallo right in the wheel tracks and bumping Coque Lopez. Now, he just got a warning for that, and I just saw him do it again there right on camera. So I'm not sure what the stewards are going to say about that. I don't think it was... It's a tricky one, because you don't want to lose momentum, and you can do that by giving the guy in front a little bit of a tap. But if you do that, you might also risk damaging the cars.
Look at that in front as well. You've got De Bruyne versus Sasaki.
Oh.
He keeps doing it, does Valerio Gallo, and the stewards will be coming down in like a ton of bricks. Lopez decides to get out of it. He lifts off the throttle down this back straight, says thanks very much, and lets Gallo back through. He wants absolutely no part of what's going on at the moment, does Coque Lopez, and I wonder whether Gallo may be under investigation once more and possibly being set for a penalty here, because the stewards have seen now another 3 instances of that over the course of that last lap.
Yeah, you can get away with it once or twice, but after that, maybe not. But we'll see. I mean, I hope we don't get a penalty, because I want to see the race slide on circuit, but that's just how things are. There are rules for a reason. Still on board with the Italian Valerio Gallo. Pace is good for him on this mid-stint. 1 minute 0.2 last lap, so very, very quick at the moment. He's got the bit between his teeth, and now looking to try and close in on Sasaki and Kai De Bruyne, who I think his effort has, I say, it's not fallen off. He's done a 1 minute 0.4 last lap. Interestingly, a mistake, I think, from Miyazono last lap. A 101.1, which is about half a second slower than he has been doing over the course of this race. Sasaki looking to the inside of Kai De Bruyne, up the inside goes the Japanese driver up into P2. Now, can he catch his fellow countryman?
Beautiful block pass there from Sasaki as he came through the chicane. He's coming around that right hand, a tighter line though, and De Bruyne's not going to take this line down. Is he going to try and do exactly what he did last time on Lopez? He goes for the move on the inside and goes through, back into second. Kai De Bruyne fantastic bit of commitment he's got through that first corner, and that's left Sasaki under threat here from Valerio Gallo. Look at him pushing the rear of the Japanese driver's car. You've got to be so careful, especially through these high-speed corners. Any wheel-to-wheel contact, and it's straight off to the single crash. Lopez there going through on Gallo, and you can see Roach there as well. He's out of position down in 11th place. So what's happened there to Callum Roach? Because he's down in 11th place. He's already a lap down. Something's gone wrong there for the American.
I mean, he's made 2 stops at this point, and it is a very short lap, but I'm not quite sure what happened. I think Lopez isn't the sort to run into the back of someone. Maybe Roach just got a bit out of position there. Roach now trying to unlap himself from Coco Lopez. We don't really get many instances of cars being lapped around here. Lining up the inside, and now...
The thing is, this is going to cost Lopez time. Callum Roach, he's well entitled to do that. You can unlap yourself, but Lopez is going to be, well, madder than a polar bear in the Canaries after this one, because it's ruining his race at this stance. And look at the gap now that's been presented between himself and Sasaki. It's up to half a second. Now he's got all of that hard work to do again with a fast and furious American behind him.
Stewards are going to be busy on this one, I think. Yeah, what an interesting scenario, because we've never had a lap that's been this quick in these cars. And if you box twice earlier, which is what Callum Roach has done to try and have a fast run later on, then you can end up being a lap down. But honestly, at this point, I don't know what the rules are.
Right, let's see what the stewards do.
Another bit of contact.
Yeah, the thing is, it's too forceful, isn't it? If you're able to unlap yourself, fair enough, but you can't go and crash into the other side of the side of the other driver. And you see, it picks up a warning there for colliding with another car. And I wonder whether it's going to be long before we see the stewards coming down on this like a Gallo. Look at this. Now Gallo's trying to take advantage, trying to get his move done on the inside of Roach. Oh, this is getting very scrappy indeed. Lopez getting hung out to dry here. More hip and shoulder, more contact, and Serrano is coming through on his countryman as well, and does so for 4th place. So Serrano, in all of that drama, now moves on to the back of Takuma Sasaki for 3rd.
All this does is benefit Miyazono and Kai De Bruyne, who are just outside of this battle. But yeah, I don't really know. It seems that it's just desperation from Callum Roach, because he's a lap down. He knows he's got pace in the tyres, but he can't do anything with it because he's stuck in this train. So I mean, Miyazono there, a track limit penalty for our leader, so that's going to help Kai De Bruyne a 2nd. That's a massive penalty. This might allow Kai to have a run coming down to the bottom, so he'll cross the line, serves the 1-second penalty. Look in the mirrors there, look in the rear view mirror, that is Kai De Bruyne right behind us, closing up at a rate of knots. Won't quite be close enough for a move, but just like that, a 2.2-second gap is down to 4 tenths, and then a mistake there from Kai straight away. I think he got a bit too excited, a bit too quickly there.
Bit of target fixation. Miyazono decides to just sack off that lap, comes into the pit lane then on the medium tyres, and decides to get a new set of boots on. That leaves De Bruyne out in front to lead a Gran Turismo World Series race for the first time in 2024, as Miyazono goes then onto the soft compound of tyre. Karatza also in as well from the mediums. Where's he going to go? Where's Drummond? There is our earlier race leader. Thankfully for him, he's kept out of all of the drama that unfolded in front of him, where we saw Roach getting involved in the action.
Where's Miyazono? So Drummond comes round now on the exit and comes out ahead of Miyazono. That's very important for Kylian Drummond. So good pace there for Drummond on that 2nd stint. And there is Miyazono. That's a big gap there between Drummond and Miyazono. 7 seconds Drummond has pulled on that stint, just on that soft compound of tyre. So it's looking like it's going the way of the Frenchman at the moment, but he does still owe some more tyres. So let's see a replay of what happened here.
Gallo versus Lopez up over the right. That's the moment there for Gallo. Whoa! Okay. Thankfully, no cars following him and collecting him in that, but that could have been a bit more messy. Kai De Bruyne, former race leader, now into the pits, off of the medium tyres. Where's he going to go in his strategy? Most people have gone soft in the middle stint. And indeed, he does have a soft on then. So Kai De Bruyne goes into the pits and will emerge where? That's the question, because he's at good pace actually in this middle stint of the race. He's looked pretty good so far as the Dutchman. Look at the rest of the field though. They're all involved in traffic. You've got, oh, hang on a bit, Callum Roach right in front of Takuma Sasaki. Right behind them you've got Serrano and Lopez. You've got Guy Barbara lunging to the inside as well of Serrano. Thing is, I get it, they're involved in their own battle further down the order. They're entitled to be involved in their own race, but you can't go and compromise somebody else's.
I can tell you right now there's going to be some words after this race between the drivers, I think, because it's just one of these difficult situations where if you are in the lead, I mean, we do operate in sort of the blue flag rule here, and you are entitled to overtake if you're quicker. but it's to the point where they're interfering so much that it's changing the outcome of the race. Sasaki at the moment, so this is interesting. Sasaki, I think, is still stuck behind Callum Roach, or was last time we checked anyway, and this all goes in favour of Miyazono and Drummond, who are not currently sort of stuck in this train.
So then, over the rise we go. There is Jose Serrano. Takuma Sasaki, your race leader as it stands for the time being. Drummond there in 4th place. He's got 5.5 seconds of a gap now over Takuma Miyazono. And it's looking quite nice here for Drummond. Of course, he's got slightly older, softer compound of tyre, but that should be okay for him. Don't forget, they have to run every compound of tyre in this race. They must run the hards, the mediums, and the softs. There is Jose Serrano, sitting in the wheel tracks of Takuma Sasaki. I suppose the one advantage here for Sasaki is he's not having to punch the hole in the air in front of him. He's getting a bit of a slipstream here, which might be a bit helpful.
Let's check his lap time. If he stays out, will he stay out for one more lap? He does. Lap time, his last time around was a 101.4 on the slow end. This lap, a 101 minute 0.7, so an okay lap time for mediums in that part of the stint. Oh, and Sasaki almost wanted that curb on the outside. Every time I see that, I cringe a bit. I think how many times I've gone through there, touched that curb and gone wild, and we're just showing you how difficult it is to thread the needle of these cars through here. Inestrosa and Robbie Heck behind now. The second place Serrano trying to find their way through on their strategies, of course, but a lap down. So what does Serrano do in this situation? You don't want to let him by if you lose time, but you don't want to risk being lunch for one of these guys like that. And then Ango Inestrosa, I think, either having contact with Serrano or being punted himself in the background. It's carnage. These cars are very fast around this circuit. And there's Coque Lopez now trying to find his way through. Do these guys get blue flags or what? What's the rule here?
Yeah, well, it's under investigation. Oh, sorry, no further action, I should say, there between Gallo and Lopez for that collision that we saw a little bit earlier on. Oh, this is just... You can feel the heart sinking for Coque Lopez here because he's right behind these two drivers who are squabbling, quite rightly, for their own positions at the moment, and it's just costing him time. Serrano comes into the pit lane then at the end of the 21st lap. Lopez does. Well, he had no choice, though, did he, really? I wonder if that forced his hand.
I wonder if Drummond and Miyazono sort of foresaw this. I was like, okay, you know what, we're going to box. I'm not getting involved in any of this. Interesting, that gap between Drummond and Miyazono. It was about 6 seconds when Drummond, who has just actually come back into the pit lane. So he's come off that soft compounded tyre. I think he realised that the tyre doesn't last quite as long as he wanted. Now, will we see the medium compounded tyre come on here? We do see that medium compounded tyre. Now, will we take that for 13 laps? I think it will last that long quite comfortably, then go onto the hard tyre for the last stint.
Yeah, so no further action there with Inestrosa versus Robbie Heck for their collision. Out on track, the stewards decided that all's fair in love and war as it stands. So Sasaki, the only driver who hasn't made a pit stop in this race, just to remind you, he's managed to run those soft tyres, sorry, medium tyres, I should say, 21 laps from the start of this race, which is mightily impressive, but I bet you they're going to be feeling pretty clapped out now, and he'll come into the pits, and indeed he does. That is going to release Takuma Miyazono to the lead of this race. Now, where does Sasaki go in terms of his strategy? He's been on the mediums. Does he go for the soft in the middle stint and try and run the hards right at the very end, or does he do a middle stint on the hards? He does do a middle stint on the hards. Now, how long is he going to run this for? You'd imagine one lap, one and done, then stick the softs on for the end of the race.
We have had 2 drivers on this stint, 3 drivers finally dip below the 1 minute mark. Kylian Drummond, fastest lap from him on the soft tyre, that last time was a 59.5, so getting quite close to qualifying pace there. These guys really on it right now. And these moments of clear air for Miyazono, for Kylian Drummond, this is where the race is going to be won or lost. So right now, if we look at all the gaps, Drummond's in clean air, Miyazono is out front, there's no one in front of him now. He can just drive into that on that soft compounder tyre, and we know his pace is good. He's going to want sub 1 minute laps every lap now. Qualifying pace is needed for Miyazono if he wants to win this race.
So, on board here we are with Coque Lopez. Up front there is Takuma Sasaki through that right-hander. There you go. You've got Kai de Bruyne not too far up the road there as well. Just in front of them, I think there's a bit of black traffic once again in this race, isn't it?
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, is that Jose Serrano? It's difficult to tell from this angle as we come down this back straight. You see Lopez there closing up onto the back and lunges his way to the inside for 4th place. Decisive there then for Lopez. Obviously he's on the soft compound tyre compared to Sasaki's hard, but that just goes to show you how much more grip he's got under braking.
Yeah, I mean, that was just easy move for Coque Lopez. Up into P4 now. This is Coque Lopez's favourite place. He loves the P4, does Coque Lopez. He's always sort of hovering around here. Good last lap from him, 59.7. So the pace is there for the Spaniard in the X 2019. Is it enough to catch his fellow countryman? Callum Roach, though, is between them at the moment. so that might help him slingshot up to him as it is. So here are the current tyre stats so far. Miyazono has taken the medium and the soft, as have the other top 4 runners. A reminder, you do have to use every compound of tyre. Only person, or the people who've done that so far, are the bottom 4, which is maybe the reason we've seen them being lapped at the moment.
So, lap 23 out of 35. Miyazono still leading this race. He's on the soft compound tyre as it stands. He's setting very fast lap times. Another 59.9. He's the only driver, aside from Coque Lopez, who was in the 59s last time around. But here is the man who is trying to challenge him for that victory. He's kept himself out of trouble, out of harm's way. Crucially, out of all that lap traffic drama that we saw early on as well. It's Kylian Drumont, the man who started this one on pole position, and that is going to be music to the ears of him. Look at that clear air in front of him. It's very hard to come by here at this Road Atlanta circuit, but at the moment he's lapping it up and doing a superb job. Probably the only thing I can foresee for him is that he's got Valerio Gallo on the soft compound tyre behind. Both, though, roughly about the same sort of time. The fact is, Drumont last time around was a 59.8, and that is exactly the same time that Gallo was setting on the soft compound tyre.
Yeah, so I mean, you can just see the pace of these guys right now. This is basically the hot lapping part of the race. Everyone's finding a little bit of space. Everyone knows the car right now. Everyone knows what they're capable of, and they just need to be putting in these quick laps. It's taking an analogy from F1 is Schumacher Hungary from whatever year that was, 98. You know, it's that. You have to just get your head down and just perform, get those results. And these guys, they're the best drivers in the world in Gran Turismo. So many of them now dipping under 1 minute for a whole lap of Road Atlanta. The pace here is unreal.
10 laps to go then here at Road Atlanta for the grand final of the Nations Cup. Kai de Bruyne, we ride on board with him. Is he bob on for a podium? Let's find out a little bit more about the man behind the mask. No, we won't. We'll do that a little bit later on, because you can see Kai de Bruyne sitting there in second place. There is Takuma Miyazono, 3.8 seconds, 3.6 seconds now up the road. Looking pretty interesting, this one.
Kai de Bruyne's catching.
He is.
He is catching. But this will be amazing for the Dutch driver. One of the youngest drivers here is Kai de Bruyne, but you wouldn't know that from his driving. Very mature driving style, very fast as well. And I think at the moment he has the pace capable of catching one of the best GT drivers in the world, Takuma Miyazono. Here is Adriano Corazza, again driving from a poor grid position, P9. He started up in P6 now, so decent comeback so far, but I just don't think he has the pace to really challenge that top 5 at the moment.
Warning triangles for some of the drivers on their rear tyres, Robbie Heck and Guy Barbara. That means that their tyres are absolutely cooked. They've got to come into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Sasaki comes into the box and off of the hard tyres on this middle stint in the race. He goes for the softs right to the very end of this one then. So Sasaki's done all 3 tyre compounds. Now he can run to the checker flag. What about the likes of Takuma Miyazono, Kai de Bruyne, and in fact all the drivers in front of Sasaki and Drumont, actually, for that matter, as Drumont comes into the pits for his final stint in this race. Where's he going to go? Medium tyres then for him. Just comes in for a bit of fuel. By the looks of things, he's quite happy with those medium tyres. He's deciding not to change them with 9 laps to go.
Probably just an update on some of the rules questions we asked a bit earlier on. And it's basically, if you get a blue flag, you have to get out of the way. We don't have that information, whether they're being shown blue flags or not, but you are allowed to retake or re-unlap yourself if you have the pace to do so.
So then, here is Drumont coming down through, just sitting all on his own at the moment. Where is he in terms of his lap times? Last time around, of course, he was a little bit slower, 1:06.4, because he came into the pit. Oh, into the wall! Kylian Drumont's thrown it away! I don't believe it, the Frenchman! Coming out of the pit lane, made a pit stop for more fuel, stayed on the medium compound of tyres, and he sends it into the barrier on his outlap.
That has handed this race to Takuma Miyazono on a platter, on a massive just sigh, collective sigh here at the venue in Montreal. Sad to see it end that way. Here's a replay of what happened. So we're on board with Drumont, comes onto the curb there, turns in, just gets in the curb a bit too much. You just can't save it at that point. The car goes off, and Drumont will be absolutely kicking himself down there. What a way for that to end.
Such a shame for Kylian Drumont. Now, look at this, battle for second between De Bruyne and Serrano then. Down the start finish, here we go. Serrano's going to send it on the inside. Oh, Oh, fantastic from Jose Serrano as he takes the lead at the start of lap 28 to the delight of the crowd. Miyazono into the pits, then onto the hard compound of tyres on lap 28. Surely he's going to want to run this for as short as he possibly can. But, I mean, you're looking a bit confused with that one, JB.
Yeah, it's an odd place to take the hard tyre. I mean, you can run soft to the end here, you can run mediums to the end here. To take the hard tyre, it just feels like there's a bit of a miscalculation there from Miyazono. So what I would like to see is that lovely little tyre graphic we have showing what has been run by each driver so far, so we can better understand what's going on. Here we are then. So Miyazono, yeah, he's going to go on that hard tyre. He doesn't have to stop again. I mean, you could come in again for another soft tyre, but it doesn't seem right to me. Serrano, who's currently out front, also has to box for that hard compounder tyre. But on this pace he's on, if he can eat this out right to the end and pick for the hard tyre right at the end of the race, he has a chance of winning this.
Well, every other driver in front has to run the hard compound of tyre. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Kai de Bruyne there into the pit lane. So where does he go from the soft compound tyre? He goes on to the hard as well. So are they just going to run the hards to the end of this race, or are they going to try and get them off as soon as they possibly can? At the moment, it's looking okay. Kylian Drumont on the recovery after sending it into the barrier. He's had a sequence, though. He's a lap down on Coque Lopez. Lopez sitting in second place at the moment. It's a Spanish 1-2 with just 6 laps remaining as De Bruyne comes out of the pits. He's going to be net on for a podium as it stands now here in World Series 1 in 2024. He's driven a quite superlative race. I don't want to jinx it because I know what the commentator's curse is like, but he's having a fantastic run of things so far.
Just looking at the lap times right now, what I would like to see is a lap time for Miyazono on this hard compounder tyre. So we'll keep an eye on that because that's going to be pivotal. That pace on that hard tyre is going to decide this race for Takuma Miyazono. Right now, Serrano blistering lap times to him, low 59s from Jose Serrano. So he knows this stint counts. He knows he has to push now. Coque Lopez also putting in some decent lap times, just not quite as quick as his fellow countrymen. There is Takuma Miyazono. There is Kai de Bruyne. So that is the race for them now. They're both on hards to the end of the race. So it's going to be a straight fight. Serrano again well into the 59s. I'm still waiting for Miyazono to come through the last part of the lap to see what sort of pace he's on. I think what he needs to be maybe is within a low 1 minute lap time. Anything more than that, it's a 1 minute point 6 for Takuma Miyazono, which is not a bad lap on that hard compounder tyre, but it's 8/10 slower than the current leader.
Yeah, Serrano and Lopez still eking it out on that soft compounder tyre. You can see the rears, though, getting pretty second-hand, to be honest with you. So I wonder whether they'll be coming in at the end of lap 30 for a new set of boots for the hard tyres to the end of this race. What does Serrano do? No, goes round again.
I would, if I was him.
Yeah.
I would do exactly the same thing. I would that tyre for as long as possible, the hard for the littlest time, because he's still capable of doing these sub-1 minute laps. Every lap he's doing that, he's building that gap to Miyazono or closing it depending on the aggro. We don't really know where he sits right now, which is quite an exciting thing. But again, Miyazono, yeah, about 6 to 8 tenths a lap slower at the moment. So
it's going to be close, isn't it? It's going to be
really
very close at the end of this one. I hope you're excited for this as much as we are here in the commentary box. So a Spanish 1-2 at the moment. They both got the hard competitive time. They both got their final pit stops left to run in this race. There's Valerio Gallo. He's up the road in 6th position, and this has been a fantastic race from Jose Serrano, part of the Spanish team which won the Nations Cup last year, along with Paul Ura and Coque Lopez, of course. And Serrano continuing where he left off.
And these guys are now to win races. They are the Spanish contingent here in the GT World Series are all massively decorated and extremely quick, extremely consistent. We used to call Coque Consistency Lopez, and he comes into the pits now to, I think, come onto that hard tyre for the last part of his stint. But a good drive so far from Lopez, I think. The best he probably could have done from where he was in the grid. Got a bit caught up mid-race with some of the lapped cars there, which I think has sort of hindered his charge somewhat, but still a great drive. Again, Serrano still in under a minute on those worn tyres. What can Miyazono do?
Well, Lopez here was lapping pretty similar to Jose Serrano, but he was about 5 seconds or so back. So I wonder where he's going to emerge in relation to Miyazono and Kai de Bruyne. That will be the proof in the pudding for where Serrano is going to emerge. Let's have a look and see what happens. Through the first corner we go. Miyazono goes through up into second. That's to be expected, but where is Lopez going to come out of the pit, and how far behind Miyazono, or indeed will he be behind Kai de Bruyne as we start the 32nd lap? Lopez there, 2.9 seconds away. It's going to be pretty close, but look at Serrano. He's now built that gap up to 31 seconds.
Has this been a masterclass from Serrano. He comes into the box now for his final pit stop, has to take that hard compound tyre. 32 seconds was the gap as he came into the pits. Will he get out before Miyazono crosses the line and overtakes? This is now everything for this race. His mechanics chucking on a set of the new hard Michelin tyres. Serrano exits the pit lane. Where is Takuma Miyazono on the track map? He's still going through the last chicane. There's Miyazono now. Where is Serrano? Miyazono coming around the last corner. Serrano now exiting the pit lane. Where is he? Across the line. Still waiting. Still waiting. Still waiting. There he is. Is Serrano out in front? He is! Jose Serrano out in front of Takuma Miyazono. What a stint from the Spanish driver, and now it's a straight fight between two of the quickest GT drivers in the world.
The only thing I will say, Serrano's got to get temperature into those tyres as we come through these first few corners. It's fast and flowing, and that's where Miyazono will be able to use the extra speed. He needs to go now, as soon as he can, to get Miyazono in order to be able to win this. It's Serrano versus Miyazono, Spaniard versus Japanese driver, as we come down this back straight. So Miyazono's got the advantage of the slipstream. Is he going to have a dive to the inside for the chicane? Serrano's going to be wide to that, goes for the defensive line, tries to park it on the outside. Miyazono goes for the outside line. Side by side they go, down into the chicane, and Miyazono leads at the end of lap 33. That was crucial for Miyazono. He needed to do that to take the lead away and retain his chances of victory.
This fight is going to go down to the wire. I guarantee Miyazono was shocked when he saw Serrano ahead of him there. No one would have suspected Jose Serrano to have that pace in the mid-stint, but we should know better than that by now. This guy is a multiple winner here in the GT Life Fence World Series. Miyazono rocketing away down the hill there, using the advantage of not having to run through the dirty air, and he just needs to build a bit of a gap coming down to the straight. Already 8 tenths in that first sector. Miyazono is locked in now. Can Serrano do anything from here? Sasaki with a penalty there in P5 as well, but the battle remains up front, weaving on the straight, trying to break the draft. Can Serrano do anything to catch Miyazono?
But the crowd here absolutely loving this one in Montreal, and Miyazono pulling out an advantage of 6 tenths of a second in a lap. 2 laps soon to become 1 remaining then here for Miyazono. It is now or never time for Jose Serrano as we come around the final corner here at Road Atlanta to begin the final lap for the grand final in the Nations Cup. It is advantage Takuma Miyazono as we go through turn 1.
You have to wonder, what if Serrano stayed out one more lap on that soft tyre? Would it have mattered? Would it have counted? Who knows? But we're on the last lap here, 8 tenths of seconds to lead. Miyazono just rocketing away in that first sector. I think Serrano had a mistake there. The gap over 2 seconds now, and Miyazono showing you why he's one of the most respected drivers in the Gran Turismo community. This guy putting on a clinic here. He's only got half a lap now between him and victory. Miyazono looking dominant once again.
This has been an absolutely fantastic performance from Takuma Miyazono. It looked like it had swung in the direction of Jose Serrano, but Miyazono was there. The temperature was in his tyres. He was ready to pounce. He had the initiative. He took the initiative. He took the lead of the race away. And now he comes through the final series of corners. What a commanding drive from Takuma Miyazono here in the Nations Cup as he rounds the final corner of Road Atlanta to win World Series 1 here in Montreal. Fantastic! Takuma Miyazono takes top honours. It's a double Spanish podium with Serrano leading home Coque Lopez as well. And a fantastic race for Kai de Bruyne, the Dutchman. 4th position at the checkered flag. But what a drive. He's not a triple world champion for no reason at all. That was the drive of a man who wants to get another title in 2024.
Amazing drive by Takuma Miyazono, but of course, big mention to Jose Serrano. He's plus 8 positions from his starting place. He almost won this thing. That middle stint was outstanding, but you have to wonder what could have been if there wasn't all that confusion mid-race with the lapped cars. That definitely cost Coque Lopez, definitely cost Jose Serrano, definitely cost Kai de Bruyne time. Miyazono was probably the only one that didn't get in the way of that one. So, but amazing racing here, and just like always, the Nations Cup comes down to the last lap. What fantastic viewing.
Let's have a look then at some highlights from that fantastic race. Takuma Miyazono taking top honours, but it was Kylian Drumont who started it on pole position on the soft compact of tyre, and it looked like he was bob on for running a blinder of a strategy. We saw some great moves being made from Kai de Bruyne as he elevated himself up the order. Coque Lopez here with Sasaki as well. They had a bit of contact with one another earlier on in the race. And it all got a bit messy in the mid-stint as we saw some lap cars getting involved in the action, which cost a lot of drivers crucial time at that point, and it really cost them an opportunity. But we saw some big sends as well from Kai de Bruyne for position.
Yeah, Kai de Bruyne really showing, just staying his intent, I think, for later rounds. That the guy's got talent, you know, keep an eye out for him. I think fourth place would probably be his worst result of this year.
Yeah, you can see some of the action here. This is what was going on with the lap runners there. This was Roach just sort of getting in the way of Lopez and Serrano at this particular point. Despite that, it didn't thwart him too much. Unfortunately, Valerio Gallo's race had a bit of an unceremonious end as he made a mistake over the crest of the hill, lost position. This was Lopez making a decisive lunge on Takuma Sasaki for fourth place on lap 23. And then later on, it all came undone for the race leader, Kylian Drummond. We thought he had it in his pocket. He sent it off into the barrier, and unfortunately, that was his chance for victory coming to a very sudden end.
This shows you how difficult this car is on that circuit and how fine the margins are. Here was Jose Serrano on an absolute charge at the end of the race. He was driving, he was in the low 59s for about 5 laps. The guy had mega pace, so much so in fact that he came out ahead of Takuma Miyazono, but he just couldn't quite get those hard tyres up in temperature soon enough. Miyazono pounced, and that was the last that Miyazono saw of Jose Serrano. Pulled off into the sunset, came around the last corner and won by 2 seconds in what has been one of the most exciting Nations Cup races for a while.
Yeah, fantastic job from Takuma Miyazono. What a brilliant job. Let's get confirmation of the results then from the grand final. Miyazono takes top honours ahead of Serrano and Coque Lopez. Then Kai de Bruyne in 4th position ahead of Takuma Sasaki. Valerio Gallo 6th place for him. He'll be disappointed with that. Callum Roach, we saw him in the walls in the middle stages. He finishes though ahead of Robbie Heck, Adriano Carrazza, and then Kylian Drummond. Victory looked like it was on the cards for him. That moment though cost him very dear indeed. He eventually finished a minute down on the rest of the field. You can see the points rankings then also reflecting the results of that race. Points awarded from 1st down to 6th place. After round 1, Takuma Miyazono leads the title race over Serrano and Lopez. Let's catch up then with our winner from World Series 1 in the Nations Cup here in Montreal. It is Takuma Miyazono. He's down talking to Jules.
Takuma, talk us through that race. Well, first of all, congratulations, but talk us through that race.
本当にありがとうございます。
Yeah.
Thank you.
So tell us what happened from your perspective.
自分の視点から何があったか教えてください。ペース自体は良かったんですけど、ペナルティ受けちゃったりとか、あと周回遅れの車とぶつかってダメージ入っちゃったりして、ちょっと途中はもう今日勝てないかなっていうふうに思ってはいたんですけど、ただ最後なんとかコースに追いつくことができて良かったと思います。
Yeah, so you know, my pace was good initially, but you know, I got caught in traffic. I got some penalties. I thought I wasn't going to make it, but in the end, I was able to catch up and you know, get ahead of Serrano. So it was great. You know?
Were you surprised when Serrano was ahead coming out of the pit? You were like, what? Like right at the end.
セラーノがピットの出た時に自分の前に出た時びっくりしましたか？
いや、コケの、出てきた位置が僕の3秒ぐらい後ろだったんで、多分ホセが前に出るだろうなと思っていたんですけど、1秒差ぐらい出てきてくれたので、これなら追いつけると思って頑張ってプッシュしました。
Yeah, you know, I kind of expected that because I saw Koke was about 3 seconds behind, and you know there was only about a second difference between me and Serrano. So as soon as I saw him, I knew I could catch him.
And you did, my goodness. But actually, guys, I found the real reason why Takuma won. Whose gloves have you got right now? Whose gloves are they?
秘密の今回秘密兵器があったと聞いてるんですけど、誰から借りたんですか？
ちょっと今回ゴールを持ってくの忘れてしまってイゴールから借りました。
Yeah, this time I actually forgot my gloves and I borrowed Igor's gloves.
So, right, the lucky gloves now. So Igor, I don't think you're getting those back. He's keeping them. Yeah, you should keep them. They're yours now. Yeah. All right, well, look, huge congratulations to Takuma Miyazono! Nations Cup winner! Back to you, Tom and Jimmy.
What a shot that is with the crowd here. That was just wonderful. And lucky gloves as well. Do you have anything lucky?
Igor, could I just have kind of a pair, please, mate? Just no reason.
Is that another Minty reference? Is that what we're getting at? Anyway, sorry, I can't help myself. Anyway, what a job from Takuma Miyazono. Don't forget about the Michelin Driver of the Day as well. Your chance to vote for whoever you think has been the standout performer of the first round of the World Series here. Is it Igor Fraga? Is it Valerio Gallo? Is it Takuma Miyazono? Is it Jose Serrano? Let us know. Hashtag GT7, hashtag GT World Series. We'll be revealing that a little bit later on here tonight. I have to say, Jose Serrano, amazing performance from him. Do you think he'll be disappointed? Second best for him?
I mean, that was one of the best drives I've seen from him. And the thing is, like, we only really cottoned onto it towards the end. That's sort of how, you know, he was playing it pretty low, pretty close to his chest. That's what he was doing there. But he had the pace to win, for sure. But I just think he was held up by that mess in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's something I think that needs addressing at some point, because you can't be having cars doing that when cars are lapped down. And it's a tricky situation. I understand, because you want to unlap yourself. You have the right to do that. But where does it become a point where you're actually starting to hinder other people's races? But yeah, if I was him, I'd be happy. I'd be proud. That's a good race from him.
Yeah, double Spanish podium. You know, not the first time that we've seen that, not the last time I'm sure that we'll see it either. The Spaniards are always there and thereabouts. But Takuma Miyazono, as I said, he did the triple back in 2020. You know, he did the Toyotas, he did the manufacturers, he did the nations. Since then, he's had a bit of a mixed bag on a few occasions, but he's bounced back with a resurgence in 2024.
Yeah, we have so many cars, so many drivers that are capable of winning here. You know, it's always a mixed bag, but Miyazono is always at the top of the list.
Right, podium then. Let's get it underway here for round one. In third place, what a fantastic result. Give it up for Spain's Coque Lopez.
Again, Coque Lopez on the podium. How many podiums has this guy got now? I've lost count.
Codium, let's call him that.
Codium.
Second place from Spain, here in the Nations Cup, it's Jose Serrano.
Again, a great drive from him, and just short of the victory this time.
What a phenomenal drive for the winner of round one of the Nations Cup here in Montreal from Japan. It's Takuma Miyazono! And now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you're able for the national anthem of Japan. For the second time tonight, the national anthem of Japan plays out here in Montreal. Lexus were the victors of the Manufacturers' Cup, and now Takuma Miyazono makes it a double Japanese victory in the Nations Cup. And now it's time for the trophies to be presented. Please welcome the producer of the Gran Turismo series, Kazunori Yamauchi, to the stage. Third place being awarded to Coque Lopez. A smile on his face. He'll have been hoping for a little bit more than that, but given the circumstances, a podium to kick off his 2024 World Series season is a very welcome result. Jose Serrano, second place for him. So close he came to the victory, but he's the bridesmaid on this occasion. And the man who called that race to perfection, he got himself into the lead and he never looked back in the final stages. Give it up for Japan's Takuma Miyazono! Takuma Miyazona then takes top honours, but of course the circus moves on to Prague. We head to the Czech Republic in the beginning of August for round 2 of the Gran Turismo World Series. Very much looking forward to this Manufacturers and Nations Cup action to come. It is going to be hugely exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Are you, Jules?
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm well excited. We just need to stay away from places that sell absinthe.
That's a good rule for life in general, really.
In general, stay away from that thing. It's evil. And that was so fun. Although now, I mean, why don't you ask if you can borrow the special lucky racing gloves, Jimmy? You might need them.
I feel like it starts going down a bit of a dark road when you start, maybe selling off Eagle's possessions.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure we could put them on eBay for some cash or whatever. But yeah, that was some great racing. How did you find it? Enjoy it?
That was amazing. I mean, the X2019 always gives us great racing. Rodada as well. There was something about just how compact that race was, which just made everything like 20% more interesting. It was amazing to watch, super enjoyable, and I think it's a great start to this year.
Yeah, how about you?
I think it's a case of what might have been for some drivers. You look at Jose Serrano, Coque Lopez, if they hadn't got caught in that melee in the mid-pack with all the lap drivers in the middle of the race, they could have been well on for the victory, to be honest. So,
just avoid melee.
yeah, exactly. Again, another good rule.
We should start making a list of things we need to avoid.
Life advice.
Life advice using racing as the sort of overarching.
Yeah. Why not?
It's fair.
I think it was brilliant, though. I mean, Takuma just called that one perfectly, though, didn't he? He was right there when it counted, and to be first you've got to finish.
Oh, yeah?
Again, that's
Sorry, did you not know about that?
Again? We'll be coming up with the extra lap in a little bit, but we're super excited for our 7th year of the World Series. This is pretty spectacular stuff. Looking forward to Prague and then Tokyo.
Yeah.
And then TBC.
World Finals. Yeah. Where's TBC? I've heard of that place.
No, you...
No,
I was going to say a really inappropriate joke there. Well, I won't because we're live on camera, but that's fine. But look, thank you so much for joining us and being part of our little GT family. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you today. Thank you to our wonderful audience. Thank you, guys. They've been amazing all day. And yeah, that just remains to say thank you so much. And we will see you again. We'll stick around for the extra lap, but of course, I will see you again in Prague.
racer back straight. You see Lopez there closing up onto the back and lunges his way to the inside for fourth place. Decisive. Last time around, of course, he was a little bit slower, 106.4, because he came into the middle. Oh,
Comes onto the curb there, turns in, just gets the curb a bit too much. You just can't save it at that point.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome along to Montreal for round one of the 2024 Gran Turismo World Series. We've just had some brilliant action in both the manufacturers and in the Nations Cup here tonight. And we're going to have a press conference for the Manufacturers Cup, which took place earlier on this evening, first of all. Welcoming onto the podium the winner, Igor Fraga for Team Lexus, second place for Valerio Gallo for Team Honda, and third place for Takuma Sasaki for Team Porsche. First of all, Igor, we'll come to yourself. Amazing job for you. First of all, how do you feel taking the victory for Lexus?
Yeah, I feel very, very happy. As I said before, there was a quite long time that I don't win a race in the Nations Cup or Manufacturers Cup. So being able to be back winning event again, it's, you know, it's really special for me. And yeah, I'm very happy.
Amazing job. What do you think it was that was able to secure you the victory today? Because it seems whenever you're able to get out in front, you just command a race from there.
No, but this time I don't think I was commanding, you know, as I used to do like in the past. Because the tire wear was really tough, especially the front tires. So always at the end of the stint, I was struggling a lot. So I gambled to do like a three-stop strategy. To make sure that I could, you know, push and have a good pace. And I was also a little bit lucky that the guys, you know, Valerio and Sasaki-san fought a little bit behind me. So I was able to create a little bit of gap at the end. And yeah, that was the reason why I won the race.
Igor, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
First of all, let's go over to Valerio Gallo. Valerio, a difficult Nations Cup race for you just now, but a really good start in the Manufacturers Cup for you with Team Honda. A drag to the line for second place with yourself and Takuma Sasaki. How do you reflect on that race?
I absolutely feel very honored.
Yeah, pass over the microphone there. Thanks, mate. Sorry about that.
Test? Okay. So, yeah, I feel quite relieved because, you know, I was also missing, you know, the live stages. And for me, it's even one of the first times I obtained such a result on the live stage. And especially with Honda, which is my beloved car from forever. And honestly, I want to dedicate this race as well to Matteo, which couldn't come. He was supposed to race, so I did his work today, and yeah. And considering both the Nations Cup and Manufacturers Cup efforts today, I feel really satisfied. And honestly, I lived one of the best races personally in the Manufacturers Cup, as well with these guys. And you know, of course, there were some differences. Everything was new, especially in terms of the gameplay, you know, and you know, it was everything new. It was a mystery, and it was also surprises, like also myself. And you know, I feel really satisfied. I cannot ask for more, honestly, from this day, and I'm really happy.
And in terms of Honda as well, we've seen you, as you said, driving for Honda for a good number of years in manufacturers. What is it that has given them this extra performance boost? Because we've seen them not so fast in previous seasons.
So, I mean, with Honda, there's a really big story. I mean, I was born with Honda, and you know, I'm really passionate. And every time I drive it, I know how to drive it. I know its weak and good points. For this one, I knew also that my car was going to be competitive. I had to be careful, you know, in terms of the driving style, because it's quite of a tricky car. And especially with the tire wear, I had to be careful. I couldn't really push too much, even though it was looking like I was really pushing beyond the limits. But, you know, behind the scenes, it's like more difficult. And but I'm used to it. It's my car, and I just love it.
Valerio, congratulations on second place today. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And let's go to Takuma Sasaki. Third of all, Takuma, an amazing battle that you had with Valerio Gallo. How do you reflect on a third place finish for Team Porsche in the first World Series event?
3位を獲得しましたけど、今回初めての今年の初めてのワールドシリーズのイベントでポルシェの勝利どう思いますか？
はい、そうですね。かなり自信はあったので、今回優勝を目指して頑張ってたんですけれども、ちょっと作戦を急遽 走りながら変えまして、普段は、まあちょっとなんていうんですかね、安牌な作戦でいくんですけど、今回は攻めた作戦にして、イゴールさんに勝とうという感じで思ってたんですが、うまく決まらずにちょっと、まあ、2位争いになっちゃったんですけど、まあ、すごく、楽しいバトルでしたので、はい、良かったです。
Yeah, so I was actually fairly confident about this race. That's why I was really trying to go for the win. But I changed my strategy as I was driving. And usually I don't take a lot of chances. I usually go for the safe option. But this time I really took the chance to try to win against Igor. Obviously it didn't work, but it became a very hard battle for second place. But still, it was really fun to drive.
And what was it that prompted that change in strategy for you? What was it that made you think during the race, I need to change my strategy from the plan that you had originally?
もともと考えてた戦略から変えようと思わせたのは何だったんですか？
今回は、まあ、バトルをすると、まあ、やっぱり後ろのマシンたちにも抜かれる可能性もありますし、でやはり、まあ、速さもすごく同じぐらい、皆さん同じぐらいなので、やっぱりオーバーテイクしようとすると、同じ作戦でいくとずっと同じ順位に居続けないといけないなって思ったので、まあ、逆転を狙う発想にしたっていう感じですね。はい。
Yeah, so this time I knew that if you really was battling against somebody else on the track, that people behind will start catching up. All our speeds were pretty much equal. So trying to overtake in the way that I was driving, I knew that I just wouldn't be able to get ahead. So I decided to try to take my chances.
Takuma, many congratulations on third place for Team Porsche. And finally, let's come back to Igor just to round things off. Igor, grab the microphone from Valerio there just a moment. Thanks very much. Pass them round. Igor, an amazing job. So obviously, we've got a different driver lineup for Lexus going into Prague. How are you going to work together with your teammates to make sure that you've got the best opportunity to win when we get there?
Yeah, so until the next round, I think the update should be already in the normal game that we have at home. So I think we will be able to prepare a little bit better. We will be able to understand, and we'll be practicing together, and trying to find the strengths and weaknesses better of our car, and study from there.
Amazing. Igor, many congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause. Third place for Team Porsche and Takuma Sasaki. Second place for Valerio Gallo and Team Honda. And first place to Igor Fraga and to Team Lexus. Stay with us. We'll have the press conference for the Nations Cup along the way in just a few moments. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Montreal for round one of the GT World Series here in Canada. We now have our press conference for the Nations Cup, and we welcome on to the press conference Japan's Takuma Miyazono, Spain's Jose Serrano, and Spain's Coque Lopez. First of all, Takuma, we'll come to you. An amazing result for yourself and for Japan. How do you feel about having won the first World Series Nations Cup event here in Montreal this year?
はい、素晴らしい結果で日本に勝利をもたらしたわけですけど、今の感想をお願いします。
はい、去年ネーションズカップ出ていなかったので、久々の参戦になったんですけど、こうやって、第一戦目から優勝できてすごく嬉しいですし、あと何よりたくさんのお客さんの見てくださっている中で、いいレースができて、そこを喜んでもらえて非常に嬉しく思います。
Yeah, so I hadn't competed in the nations for a while, and so I'm really happy to have won the first round of the season. And it was, we had some great spectators today in the venue, so it was really fun to, really compete here.
Amazing. Takuma, many congratulations on the victory. Well done. And let's go over to Jose Serrano. Jose, second place for you. Fantastic job. But we saw you getting caught with a lot of lap traffic in that race. Are you happy with second place? Are you disappointed? How do you feel?
José, segunda posición, pero bueno, hemos visto que has tenido tráfico, has tenido que remontar desde atrás. ¿Estás contento realmente con esa segunda posición?
Pues la verdad que sí, estoy muy contento porque saliendo desde la P10 lo veía un poquito complicado, pero bueno, con el ritmo que tenía y el ritmo que he demostrado, pues la verdad que estoy muy satisfecho con esta carrera.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the result. No, I started at P10, so I thought it was going to be a really difficult race, but yeah, I had a nice rhythm through the race, and yeah, finishing second from P10, it's really amazing.
Jose, many congratulations. Good points on the board going into Prague.
Thank you.
And finally to Coque Lopez. Coque, third position for you. We also saw you getting caught in a bit of lap traffic. Are you left wondering what might have been today? Do you think the victory was within your grasp at all? I know you understand me, that's fine.
I was kidding. Yeah, it was a bit frustrating to see the traffic, especially because with the pit stops being that long and in such a short track, then there were lap riders that they were on softer tires or they were faster than us. And I didn't realize of that, but I just started to feel some hits from drivers behind, and then I realized they were lap drivers. So yeah, from one side, it's a bit disappointing because I was just trying to manage the race from the beginning, especially with the tire wear, and that's why I was a bit letting pass guys like Valerio or Kai. But as soon as I started to get these little hits and I lost the slipstream, especially of Jose, that was mega fast today, I couldn't really fight for the victory, but yeah, still, I'm so relieved because I was so slow in the practice in both the sprint and the grand final, and I could take a podium that was so unexpected for me.
Okay, many congratulations and some good points on the board as well for you. So
thank you, and also want to thank all the crowd because they've been amazing, and also people still here after 5 hours of show. Really want to thank you.
Amazing job. Huge congratulations to Coque Lopez in third place, Jose Serrano in second place, and to Takuma Miyazono as the winner. And we now are announcing the Michelin driver of the day, and it goes to Takuma Miyazono. Round of applause. Many congratulations, Takuma. Very good job. And that brings an end to the Gran Turismo World Series here in Montreal. Many sincere thanks to everybody who's been a part of it and to the amazing crowd that we've had here in Canada as well. World Series 2 takes place on the 10th of August in the Czech Republic in Prague. We look forward to your company there. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again as the show continues in 2024.